Okay, cool. So today we will be covering first question will be like forming a largest number from a array. So suppose there are two examples currently. Uh, the first one which takes two integer and we try to form the largest number. So like if we basically combine these two number and what will be the largest number formed. So there are two possibilities. One is basically this 102 and another possibility is 210. So which one is greater? 210. So that should be our output. Similarly, for the second question, we form the largest number using those numbers in an array. Now, there are like I have seen many candidates who give the answer like we can do the sorting and we can find the largest number. So I don't think here the sorting will work, right? Because in the first input, the sorting will give you this. In the second input also that will give something different, which is not the largest one. So the sorting will not work. Now, the next approach could be we can try to generate all the possible permutation and combinations for this given array of integers and try to find out which one is greater. That could be another possibility, but for the larger number of size of a array, it would fail because of the time complexity and it will basically exceed our time limit. So that approach we cannot use for this problem. Then what could be the approach? So as we see in the first input, like what we did is we tried to generate the number by appending these two numbers. So what I did is I take 110 and then another number 2, try to append this. Again, we just change the position and try to append this. And then we compare one is greater. So 210 is greater. So that should be my output. Similarly, for this input array, if we can do the same thing, like we try to combine and we try to find out which one is greater. So suppose what we will do is we will take two numbers and we try to find out which one is greater. So that could be the possibility. So now, can we utilize the sorting logic here and try to write our own comparator instead of like normally in sorting, what we do is we directly compare like this, whether 10 is greater than 2 or not, and then we will sort accordingly. That is the normal behavior in a sorting. But suppose if you want to like have some custom sorting, so how can you do? You can have some comparable method which will work for your sorting, and you can just write the comparable logic for this problem. So let's see the solution. We will go with the solution first now. Just a second. So currently for this problem, I have written the solution in 3 programming language so that everyone can understand because uh, the first solution is in Java, then second solution in Swift, and the third solution is in CPP. So we will first talk about the Swift solution because it's very small and everyone can easily understand. Okay, so what we did is the map API is basically tried to iterate over a for loop, and the sorted API tried to do the sorting part, and the by this closure basically this closer part, this one. So this one will work for our comparable logic. So what we did is we take two integers like left hand side and right hand side. So it's basically variable 1 and variable 2. We try to append those two variables and try to compare with them only. So currently suppose if A and B are two variables. So what we did is AB and BA and we try to compare with them. So we can compare these two variables and accordingly we try to sort. So once we sort, we find the result array output, or this is a string because we basically joined this. So it will become a string. So all the numbers we directly joined after the sorting with a comparable method, and then the output we directly print through the return method. So it seems very simple. right? The same thing can be written in different languages also. So let's move to the CPP one also first. So in this, the input comes into a vector. So first we check like if the size is empty, so we directly return. Then we basically try to call the sorting method with our own compare method. And we basically write this compare method below. So in the compare method, you will see what we try to do is we try to generate two strings, AB and BA, and then try to compare with them, which one is bigger or which one is smaller. And accordingly, we basically directly then later on we convert this into a string, resultant string, and then we return this result here. This is in CPP. Now suppose if I need to write the same logic in Java, how will I write? So this is Java logic. In this also, if let me resize it. Okay. Now I think everyone can see. Okay. Right. So in this also the same thing happening here. What we did is we tried to do the sorting part using a large number comparator. And this comparator has been written here. The logic is same. So the programming language could be anyone like CPP, Java, Swift, Objective-C, or any other programming language. But the logic remains same for all the programming language. Any question?
Why we
Guys,
not
any
use
question?
directly sorting here?
As I told you in the question itself, if you try to do the sorting, so what will happen for the first input 10 comma 2, the output would be 10 comma 2 only. If you do in decreasing order, if you do in increasing order, it could be 210. For the first input, the answer will be correct. But for the second input, what will be the output? The 34 will come into the front, or the 34 goes into the last, and 3 will come into the front. So in both the cases, the output is wrong.
Correct, correct.
If you
Yes.
want me to explain more, I can basically explain also. I hope you understand, right?
Yes, for multiple like 23, 32, in this case, logic will not work.
Right. Even like you can take a simple array, like suppose 37 comma 9. So if you do sorting, it will become 937, right? So this is correct. But suppose if we do 997 comma 3, then the output will become 397, which is wrong. The output should be 973.
Correct, correct.
So
Yes.
we can easily find out the exception cases before giving the thought onto the solution, so that we understand why we are not going with the sorting approach, why we are not going into the permutation combination approach. So why we are following this approach. Now in this approach, can anyone tell what will be the time complexity and the space complexity? Anyone?
N log n,
That would be the time complexity and space complexity.
order of 1.
Uh, we cannot say order of one. The reason is because the output array, if we consider the output array, then it's order of n. If we do not consider that, then order of one. So you need to be very specific while you are explaining the time or space complexity. So try to give the complete perspective. That would be really helpful for your interviews also.
Okay.
Shall we move to next question?
Nishant, I have a doubt in Swift solution. Yeah, so
Yes.
in return, where you have write the LHS plus RHS, shouldn't we convert it before comparing? Should we convert it into the int? Because this will be string now.
Uh, Yeah,
And
so we are returning into a string, and if you see the map method, we are passing the argument as a string only,
this is string.
right? So what first part, yeah, first what we did is we map integer to string, and then we use the string array to do the sorting, and then we append all the strings, and then we return the string. That is the logic.
Okay, but here we are comparing the greater, like this, now this
Okay,
is
let me
word on.
highlight here. This one is basically converting the string. This
Yeah.
one is doing sorting part,
Hmm.
and this one is basically after sorting, you are appending and making it into a string, array to string correspondence.
Okay. So, but LHS plus here in the return statement, the return LHS plus RHS. So here we are doing like 2 plus 10. We are appending the string now, and then comparing the value.
No, it's a no, no, it's a comparison only. If you see less than or greater than, it always return bool value only, either true or false.
Okay.
Like for example, if I say 1 plus 2 is greater than 2 plus 1, then it will return true only, not the numbers or not the strings, right?
Okay.
So basically, it will compare the strings also, right? This suppose 2 and 10
Yes,
was the
yes,
two numbers. So basically, it will compare the two string 210 and 102,
right,
not the integers.
right. So our
Okay.
programming languages are like very evolved languages. So they know how to compare the numerical strings also. That's the benefit we are getting.
Okay. Got it, Nishan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then let's move to another question. This question is very recent question asked in Microsoft to one of my friend. So I try to cover it here only. So this is basically around the run length encoded string. So this is also called as a string compression. So suppose there is an input string like A, B, 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 X, Y, Z, 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 Z. Then the output or the print, suppose if a method is given to you and you just need to write the logic such that it print in a particular order, then how we will write the logic. So that was the ask from the question. And the encoding part says basically, like for example, in the input, A is coming 4 times, B is coming 3 times, X is coming 1 time, Y is coming 1 time, and then Z is coming suppose 6 times. So the output should look like A4, B3, X1, Y1, Z6. So that was the requirement from the question itself. I hope everyone understand the question. Or let me give another example also. Like suppose this is my input string, then output should be A2, B2. Okay, now the question is clear. Uh, Now, what will be the first thought around this problem? How can we solve this problem to in particular input or particular output we can basically generate? The first way could be I can use basically array to store the number of count, or I can use a hash map that can store a number of count. For example, while I'm traversing an array, the first element I encounter is A. Now I create a key in a hash map with A, and I will store the count of A, the number of times A has been occurred. So why will we traverse? We found out, okay, 4 times A has been triggered. So I will basically update the count 4. Similarly, for the complete string, I just traverse the complete length of a string and I generated a hash map with all the counts. Then in the next time, I can directly print, or even in the first time while we are basically updating the count into a hash map, right? I can directly print also. Now, in this case, if we remove the hash map logic, like we do not store the hash map part, then what we can do is we can directly print, like we know, okay, A is first element and I need to print A. And I will just write a comparison method that, like, for example, if I convert this string like, okay, a string of I is equal to a string of I plus 1, then we will move forward and increase the count. And whenever this condition breaks, what I will do is I will print string I plus count. So for example, let me explain with example also. So we will take this AABV only. So this is A of I, just a second. This is A of I and another one is I plus 1. Initially I is 0. Okay. Now with I equal to 0, initially I took count as 1. Now the number of times A has been occurred is 1. Now the second time when I is equal to 1, the condition fails, right? So initially for the I equal to 0, what I need to do is I need to increase the count. So initially I initialize the count with 1. Then I triggered I equal to 0. So I compare A of 0 is equal to A of 1, which is equal. So I increase the count to 2. Now the count becomes 2. Now I change I is equal to 1, which is basically A is equal to B or not. So this is the case. So it's false. So in this case, what I will do is I will just print A of I, which is A of 1, which is A, and the count 2. Now again I reset the count with 1. Now I reset the count with 1 and then I move forward. So now I is equal to 2, which is B. Now A of I is B, A of I plus 1 is B, which is equal. So now count will change again to 2 and then we will move forward, which is basically the breaking condition. So we will just print that B2 also. Now the format is A to B2. This is our output. That would be the logic and we should write that logic now. So let's first go with this algorithm. Like I try to write the algorithm also. So algorithm is pick the first character from the source string, append the picked character into a destination string. Suppose if you need to print the complete encoded, then you just take a output string and just try to append the destination string into that, right? The picked character into a destination string. Then basically you count the number of subsequent occurrences and try to append the count also into the destination string. That is required only when interviewer asks you to return a string with an encoded one. If an interviewer just asks you just to print those, then you do not need to have a destination string. That could be another possibility. Then the fourth step is similar, like try to do the same repeating things for all the characters available in a string. Now we will move to the logical part. The logical one is very simple, which is basically written in C. I think everyone can write in any language, so that is okay. So in this, if you see what we did is we first try to find the length of a string and we try to traverse the string. Initially the count is 1 and I is 0. And this while loop will make sure, like suppose earlier this was the string. Now take an example of for this. Now initially I is 0. So this loop will run how many times? For I equal to 0, it will run. For I equal to 1, it will run. For I equal to 2, it will fail. Right? For I equal to 2, it will fail. Anyone can run in their mind also. So when I is equal to 0, the count was 1. When I is equal to 1, the count was 2. When I is equal to 2, the count was 3. So solution is clear to everyone? Or if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, it's clear, Nishant.
Okay, now what will be the complexity? Anyone?
O of n.
Order of n, that would be the time complexity, and order of 1, that would be the space complexity. If we are storing the encoded string or the compressed string, then the space complexity will increase for the output string only. So yes, right. So this is our second question. Anyone, if anyone
Nishant,
is having any doubt, yeah.
yeah, as you said, it's a sorted one, A, B, 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 C, 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 like that. So it's not,
Mhm.
suppose it's not sorted, then what will be the
Mhm.
approach?
Then the first approach which we told, there are multiple ways to do this. Then you can directly sort the string and then you can do the same logic. That will require n log n time. But suppose if you want to reduce the time complexity, what you will do is you will increase the space complexity by storing the string, like what storing the count in a hash map, which we told earlier in the approach. So that could be another approach to solve that problem.
Okay.
Any other question? No. Okay. Then let's move to the third one. So this one is also from the Microsoft interview series only. Like one of my friend encountered the same question with Microsoft as well as with the Walmart also. So you have given a m cross n matrix and you need to traverse the matrix in a spiral order. So as you can see in the diagram also, first what we did is we traversed the first row, then the last column, then again the last row, and then again the first column. So this is the order. And similarly, once we traverse the upper layer of a matrix, then we traverse the inner layer of matrix with the same spiral form. So how can we approach this problem? To solve this problem, the first basic thing comes in a mind is like suppose if I just need to follow this directions, like initially, like suppose if I is equal to 0, J is equal to 0. This is my initial point, this one, right? Now, if I need to move into the right direction, so this one, right, we call this right direction. What we need to do is we need to keep I as 0 only, but J will increase. So we will use 0, 1 increment for the right direction. Now, suppose for the bottom direction, this one, we say bottom direction, P for bottom. Now, to go into the bottom direction, what we will do is we will increase the row but keep the column as 0 only. Now suppose we need to go into the left direction. What could be the direction increment or decrement parameter? I just need to reduce the column, but keeping the row same. So that could be this. This could be my third direction. Then fourth direction is going from bottom to up. Right. So what is the possibility here? We basically need to reduce the row but keeping the column as same. So these are the 4 directions possible for any matrix which we need to traverse for a spiral form. Now suppose if we start with 1, 2, 3, then we move to 6, 9 and then 8, 7, 4. But suppose if I traverse the first row 1, 2, 3, then I do not want to traverse 3 again in the last column. And how can I avoid that? I can have a matrix where I can basically maintain which element I have already seen. So what I can say is I created another matrix which I say initially false. Whenever I traverse, I say true, 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 then true, then true, then true, then true, then true. And suppose from here to here, We check if already true, we do not need to traverse, then we move to here. So this is also true. So that could be a solution, and it's basically using 2D matrix as a scene matrix, or you say visited matrix, and we are utilizing the information of directions like moving into right direction, bottom direction, left direction, or upper direction. So we will see how we are going to solve this problem with this approach first. Okay, so this is the initial approach. Let me resize it so that complete solution will come. Okay, now everyone can see the solution, right? So in this solution, what I did is I created a direction array, which is for row and for the column. So this is our direction array, which is generated from the same logic which we explained in the problem itself. 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, minus 1, minus 1, comma 0. And this is our scene matrix. Initially, we defined with our false because we say repeating false. So initially the complete 2D matrix is false. Then we calculated the row and column size, and then the normal logic will come. Like we just traverse it and we will write the logic here. So we will go through with that logic first, and then we will move to the optimized approach also. So this is the logic if you see in the for loop. So total number of times we need to traverse is the number of row multiplied by number of column, which is basically m cross n. So suppose if it's a 3 cross 3 matrix, the total number of traversal we need to do is 9, because 9 elements are there in the matrix. So the for loop indicates that's only. Like if you write in any other programming language, you will write like for I is equal to 0, I less than m multiplied by n, then I plus plus. That could be your condition. Then answer is basically our output, which basically we will be returning a array in a spiral form traversal. So first we basically encountered the 0, 0 position. We append into the array. We marked this as a scene array as a true, and then we calculated the next possible moves. So with the direction array, what we are trying to do is we define the direction array such that some network issue. Hello.
Hello. Shan, you should turn
Yeah,
turn
Abhishek.
off your video, I think. That maybe
Okay. Okay. So now you will be able to see my screen also, right?
yes.
Okay. I will repeat again. Basically, what we are trying to do is we will be traversing our matrix. Total number of elements are 9, so we will be traversing 9 times. Then we start with the first element. We append into our answer array. Then we basically marked it as a scene. Yes, it's seen. We already visited this part. Then we basically try to calculate the next direction, which is basically 0, 1 from the initial dr, dc array, and we will move into the left to right direction. Then with the second like dr1, which is basically from top to bottom. Then again, these are 4 directions which we will be traversing, and we are just appending into the answer array. So that is the very simple logic. I think here If you guys have any doubt, feel free to ask me.
What's the else condition? This modulus 4 condition.
Okay, so this is basically just a second. So suppose once we exhaust the condition for a particular direction movement, then we need to traverse into another direction. So that will take care of another direction, the else condition. So every time when we exceed the if condition, we need to move into another direction. Like for example, initially we move from left to right, then from top to bottom, then from bottom right to bottom left, then bottom left to top left. We need to move. Once we are done with this, then we need to change again the direction also. So this else condition will basically allow us to move in different directions, which is basically a spiral direction for us.
Okay, okay. But modulus 4 was required because it can exceed, like
The
it can
modulus
go
4
to
is
5.
for the direction array. Modulus 4 is for the direction array. So that once we are traversed all the four direction, we need to traverse again initially from the initial direction. This this part. Let me take another color. Okay, this one. So these are having four directions representing. So suppose if we have traversed all the four direction, now we need to
Okay,
come
got it.
again to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
initial direction. So this
yeah,
logic
got
will
it.
do that part.
Okay.
Now, this solution, we already seen this solution. Now, what will be the time complexity and space complexity for this solution?
N square.
We say m into n because it's matrix.
Yeah, yeah.
The time complexity will be m into n, and the space complexity will be m into n.
Same.
So
Yes.
as I write here, just a second. Okay, so basically I just represent n as a number of elements in the input matrix. So total number of elements are currently m into n, which is equal to n, which is I mentioned here in the space complexity. So we will work like, okay, or I can change here also. That is same thing because I written in the description that total number of elements will be our time complexity and total number of elements required for the scene array will be our space complexity. Now we will see the optimized approach for the spiral matrix. Like how can we basically optimize? Because it's a 2D matrix, so we cannot optimize in time complexity because we need to traverse all the elements. That's for sure. So what we can do here is we can optimize on the space front. Instead of taking a scene matrix, we do not require scene matrix. We can directly traverse in these four direction and we can just add our answer array, basically fill all the answer array and we will return it. Currently in this solution, we are not considering answer array into a space complexity. So now what I did is I took four variables. Initially, row 1 is equal to 0, row 2 equal to the total number of basically rows or the columns. Similarly for the C1, the same thing. So these four variables will help me to traverse in all the four directions. So I just took a condition, okay, if the number of row, initially the row is 0 and the R2 is the maximum possible rows in a matrix. Similarly, C1 is 0 and C2 is maximum possible columns in a matrix. And we will start traversing and we will increase or decrease the row count or the column count accordingly. So let me basically go through with the code first so that everyone can be on the same page. So till here, everything is clear, I hope, right? Initially, this is a basically base condition. We check that if a matrix is empty, we return answer as empty. Then we basically initialize these four variables and we write a condition while if the row is less than the maximum possible row, the column is less than the maximum possible column. And then we will start traversing. So initially, if we see in this matrix image represented, So what we need to do is, if C1 is 0, means initial column is 0, and the maximum possible column is 2, right? Now I need to traverse from this direction. So row will become 0 only. So I do not need to consider the R1 part. So I can directly use the R1 in the matrix R1. I just need to increment the column C from C1 to C2. So C is initially 0, then 1, then 2. So this is my C1, this is my C2. So I can basically I can write a for loop like for like C, or we will say I or J, whatever you can take. So currently I just written for C in stride. Stride is basically we are traversing from C1 to C2. So we will directly initialize in the for loop for C is equal to C1 and C is less than C2, or C is less than equal to C2, and then C++. That could be our condition in any programming language. And we traverse this for loop. So this for loop will traverse the top left to top right. So I will be able to traverse this. Now we need to traverse in this direction, and we do not need to consider the first row. So what I will do is I will increment the row. So initially R1 is 0. So my for loop should start from R1 plus 1, and it should go till R2, right? And the column C2, if we consider C2 as a maximum possible, which is, suppose C2 is 3, here also C1 is first 3. So C2 is 3. So we will basically take a condition, okay, C2 minus 1. So basically the last column, because we need to consider the index of that particular column. Similarly, the other two for loops will also work, and we might not require this condition. So this approach is clear, or if you have any query, please ask. And once we are done, we will directly increment the row count. Like R1 we will increment, R2 we will decrement, C1 we will be incrementing, and C2 will be decrementing, so that we will consider the smallest matrix then again. Like if suppose it's a 4x4 matrix, we traverse the complete layer. Now we need to consider the 3x3 matrix. So every time we basically traverse the complete layer, we basically reduce the whole solution matrix by increasing the row 1 and decreasing the row 2. Similarly for the C1, C2.
Nishant, that last four variables, can you explain once again? Increasing the
Yes.
R1 and decreasing R2. Same
Okay.
for column.
So suppose, yes. So suppose this is my matrix. Okay. So initially I traverse this, right? With this while condition.
Yes, yes.
Now initially the R1 is 0, right? This is row. R1 is 0. Now R1 should start from here only. So this is row 1.
Okay, okay, got it.
So I increase the row with this. Similarly, R2 was this one, the maximum possible number of rows, this one. Now I need to reduce R2 from this to this. So I reduce the
Yes.
R2 here. Similarly for the C1 and C2 part.
Same for column also. Okay, got it.
Okay. Any other doubt?
Could you explain the if condition in the last, like if R1 less than R2 minus 1, that is for?
Okay, so this condition is not required normally. This is basically a safety condition while I was writing in Swift. So normally it does not require when you write in any other programming language. And this condition is basically avoid us to consider the same element twice. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
In this solution, the overall space complexity is order of 1 if we are not considering the output array. If we consider the output array, which is basically the size of number of elements in our 2D matrix, then the size increases to order of m into n, or I represent through n. Similarly, the time complexity will be order of m into n, which I represent through n here. So today we have covered 3 questions. The first one was basically the largest number. Then the second one was around the string compression. Then the third one was around the spiral matrix. If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. Else we are done for today. We can practice in the night. In case if you need any help, feel free to approach me.